Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the trivia. They wanted to say trivial, but it's trivia. Combo.
No,
Yeah. It's trivia. It's a multiple choice. It's a fun game show. It's a game show conversation I had with Phil Barth in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now. Go back and listen to that one, then come back and join us. You guys, so if you are like me, you grew up with game shows. What?
She messed up my dad joke. It's okay. We're rolling on with it.
Oh, it was actually
that literally was what you're supposed to read verbatim because it's a bad dad joke, and we're just going to move on.
I don't even get it.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, well,
nailing
anyways, I am nailing it. You guys, you know what? Sometimes you have to walk around and say I'm nailing it. I'm nailing it. So I was so intrigued by Phil when he reached out to be on the podcast because, first of all, if you listen to the podcast, he was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I grew up watching that show and all of the trivia shows, and I really. I've never been good at Jeopardy, but I used to, my roommate and I would sit at the bar and watch Wheel of Fortune, and then we would like practice because someday we'd
Wheel
yeah.
of Fortune!
And we would see if we could get the puzzle before anyone else would. And we never applied to be on the show, which is probably why we weren't on the show, but like, anyways, what I loved about having Phil on, and we'll talk about it more, is just like, he's just so energetic and full of life, and like he's doing really big things now. And we had a fun conversation about it. It was great. It was just fun.
His enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah,
yes.
That's 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Yeah, and if you're like, "What's 2 in a row?" Well, that means you missed last week.
Gotta go back.
Gotta go back.
Listen to the history.
Do a little Be It binge. Just
Do it.
saying. Wow, that's fun. A Be It binge.
Oh, it's a Be It binge.
Yeah. Oh, we should
Binge
hashtag
alert.
that.
Be It binge
Let
alert.
us know if
Warning. Binge alert.
Binge alert. Be It binge alert. Okay. Well, anyways. All right. Before we get into the whole Phil Barth situation, we are if you're listening to this in real time, like you are on top of your episodes, it is the pre-sale for this workshop we're doing at OPC about the roll-up. If you're listening to it a few days after it pops out, well, you can still buy it for a short time only, but it's a little bit more expensive. So, listen to things when they come out in time. That's the life lesson there. Or actually just get on our list. You hear about them.
So
in
if
the
you're
emails.
Be It binging this, then you missed it. But it's okay. We love you.
We love you anyways. And there's something for you if you go to opc.me/events. I bet you'll find something amazing there.
Yeah. And if there's nothing there, go to opc.me/workshops to get yourself on the wait list for future events.
But if you are struggling, if you're like, I hate the roll up, or I hate teaser, or I hate anything with flexion, then opc.me/events is going to take you to this amazing workshop that we're having. And it's such a fun one, but it's like one of those, like, you better be it or you lose out on it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel there's like a thing.
You better be it till you see it, or it's gone.
Or it's gone. That's true. That's how that's going. Yeah. Okay. The next thing I have a little thing I have to tell you. If you're an OPC member, I've been teasing you a little bit, but it's getting closer. You guys.
Well, I don't know that we should tell them.
I can't tell them.
No, what we're saying today is stay tuned because next month we have a very, very exciting addition for every one of our OPC members. Mm-hmm. And that's all we can say.
Well, can I at least say it's not a human?
Yes, you can say it's not a human.
When you can say there's an addition to something, people are going to think.
No, we can
like
let them fill in the blank in their own minds.
Okay,
and they can explore, and maybe it's a thing.
Well, then tag me and your guesses online and let me see if I'll let you know if you're right. And then finally, Brad and I are actually going to be home for almost 2 months. I love how he says it's a whole 2 months. It is not even close to a whole 2 months, but it's a good 6 weeks.
It is. We're back from Mexico.
Yeah.
Till when we go, maybe You might be leaving to go to Texas, maybe. Not sure.
I'm not really sure where I'm headed, but I will say I will be home. I don't know if it's a full 8 weeks, but it's close. And so we're gonna be like really enjoying our routines, because once it's May, it is like,
yeah, the rest of the year from May this year is going to be like a rocket ship.
Yes, because Brad insisted that we go on 2 tours. So we're doing 2 tours.
We're doing it.
We're super stoked about that. And if you're like, what is the second tour? Well, guess what? This summer, we're going to do the West Coast tour. So if you are a West Coast listener,
we're working it all out right now.
We are working it out.
It's going to be sometime in August.
Yeah, so hit us up if you want.
Locations to be determined.
Hit us up if you want to make sure you are on the TBD list, which we haven't made yet. So there isn't one to go to. But
you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it up right now. Go to opc.me/tour to get on the wait list for the tour.
Yeah, wonderful. That's so fun. Okay, my team is taking notes. All right. Before we get into the episode with Phil Barth, we had a question from you, actually, because you complain about this all the time. So you complained about it the other day, and you complain, and I just like, you know how everyone knows, how listeners know how I feel about complaints. So what is your question, Brad?
Okay, so this is Brad submitted his own question. I don't know about y'all, but whenever
I feel like
do,
this is nepotism. It's like a nepo baby right here.
Yeah, I just won because I win. All I do is win in my hip flexors.
No.
So every time I do a sit up, I'm like doing it okay. I feel like I'm whipping my body around, but when I try to like actually get into my muscles of my stomach and my core situation, by the time, if I've done like 20 or 30 sit-ups, all I actually feel is hurt in my hip flexors.
Yeah.
Every time. And it's like, I'm really doing my damnedest not to be in my hip flexors.
Yeah.
Yet I'm not doing it right.
And you also complain about this when you do the mat classes with me on the roll up and the teaser and all of that stuff. So
actually, it's teaser mostly. Like roll up, I feel like I'm
getting better.
Well, yeah, because I'm starting with my upper body, and I'm not starting with my I'm not starting with my hip flexors, but the
to the listener at home, we have 3 dogs.
Oh my gosh.
One of them is silently letting us know that they are here. And if you know, you know. So here's the thing. There are probably listeners in here who are like wanting to let you know about every single muscle group you're not using correctly. And I'm going to just like make it really simple for all of us. If you're doing sit-ups and you're feeling your hip flexors, it is a sign that you're not really using all of the muscles of your center. You're just not. And that's not your fault necessarily. Sit-ups are a really easy exercise to bypass a lot of those muscles. Just use your rectus, which is a very surface muscle. And then if your feet are moving around in your sit-ups, it is a sign that your hip flexors are going, oh, you want to bring your chest to your leg? Well, bringing your legs to the chest is the same thing, right? It's not, and it is. So what's happening is the hip flexors are pulling your back to the legs, because that's what they do. They pull the legs to the back. They'll pull the legs to your stomach. So this is a podcast, not an anatomy class. So if you can't picture that, it's just how it is. So what I do as a Pilates person when I do sit-ups is the same thing that I do when I'm doing a roll-up or I'm doing teaser. I am pushing down into my feet and energetically dragging them towards my seat. This is activating the muscles that I call the fascia, which is your inner thighs, your hamstrings, your glutes. So when I come up, of course, there's like a little bit of like a wanting to turn off, but I try to keep this little, it's a technical term, this little, like a hug in, like I put on some Spanx, right? And I try to especially keep that on as I'm lowering myself down. So,
is that like when you say you're keeping that on?
Yeah.
You're talking about
the hamstrings and glutes, inner thighs. Yeah.
Are you also talking about your stomach?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm not like...
I'm trying to envision doing a sit-up while I'm sitting in a chair, so it's...
Well, you know what? Everyone who's sitting right now, if you're driving in your cruise control, you can do this too. So everybody sitting in a chair or sitting at your desk or sitting in your car, please make sure that you are with your eyes open. Press down into your feet, like you could stand up. Obviously, you're not, but do push down into your feet.
Okay.
Do you feel like you got a little taller, your booty got a little on?
Yeah,
feel that?
I'm like, if I'm, yeah.
So now pull your stomach muscles in at the same time. Okay. So that's just like, that's the feeling we want to have on the way up from our sit-up. and then on that way down, right? So what I don't want you to do is like bear down and grip anything. But you're feeling your hip flexors because you're not incorporating more muscles, and it's not your fault. Your hip flexors are very strong from you playing soccer or volleyball or running or walking the dogs. Like that's hip flexors, hip flexors, hip flexors. So what's happening is the other muscles that are required to do a sit-up, they're weaker and they're not participating as much. So there you go. That's your anatomy, your science. And if you are interested in what I'm talking about with the fast muscles, they are very important when it comes to your roll up. And if you are a person who does Pilates and you hate the roll up, teaser pisses you off, you're not even going to do hip circles on the mat, then come to the OPC workshop that's coming up, because you're going to want to hear all the ways that I don't feel my hip flexors in Pilates. It's not because I'm not using them. It's just because they're part of a big orchestra of muscles.
Nice. OPC.me/events.
Boom, boom, boom.
OPC.me/events.
Pew, 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 pew.
All right, now let's talk about Phil Barth. As a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, a speaker and an author, Phil Barth is the man who specializes in goal achievement. His journey began when he found success by trying something different and surrounding himself with the right people. Today, he helps others fry chickens and overcome their barriers to success through his books.
Don't you just love that? He's just helping people fry some chickens. I love it. I love it because when you're not going after your goals, you're essentially chickening out. So I'm in. I wonder if that's what he meant.
I don't actually know, but
let me know if I'm on the path. I'm in.
Right. Well, I am curious to see if you looked up that New Zealand bird that you were telling him about.
Oh, he did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He sent it to me. I forgot. You can't keep it all in, but I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you're talking about Phil.
Awesome. Well, tell us, let's jump into what he said that you love today. And I saw that you have 2 points.
I know. Okay. Well, there's apparently a lot of birds that have expired. I put expired. It's extinct, right?
You said expired?
Yes.
Oh.
Which side note,
Extinct.
When you pass away, when doctor's office reports were paper, you guys, when your doctor had a chart, remember Seinfeld had a physical chart and he'd write a note and Elaine's like, what are you writing in there? So I used to be a chart person at a doctor's office and I would put the charts away, think like a librarian putting the books away. It's very specific, the order that goes in so that they can find the chart. Literally by a person who goes, that's all your job is to pull charts, okay? And then put the charts back. Anyways, if you die, they put expired and the date on it in Sharpie.
Expired.
It's a lot of house. All right, that's an inside joke, guys.
Hope
okay,
you can keep it clean.
Ding dong. Okay.
What?
2 things. I did have 2 things that I loved. So the first is the BOHAG.
BOHAG. What the hell is a BOHAG?
It's a big old hairy ass goal.
BOHAG.
And you have to be obsessed with it because you guys, I think a lot of times when we aren't achieving a goal, it's because it's almost too easy to achieve. So we kind of want to do it tomorrow. But if you pick a really
tomorrow,
if you want to
expired.
You guys, we only get served the same ads when we stream. We get served 3 ads, and that's one of them.
That's so
I can't even tell you who the company is.
I can.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't say it. They're not sponsoring the show.
That's true.
But so if you know, let us know. We can have an.
If you know, you know.
You know.
Expired.
Excuse me. If your goal is like really big and scary, and it's kind of bigger than you, it makes it easier to show up. Like when you hit an obstacle, because it's not about you. So, and then you want to be obsessed with it. And what that means is like, it's not like getting crazy and you just like lock yourself in a room until it's over. But like you really are making sure that you're not saying yes to things that take you away from the goal. So everything that people ask you to do, it's like, is this going to get me closer to my BOHAG? Is this going to help me with my BOHAG? When you're obsessed with your BOHAG, first of all, our friend Michael, he's been on the show. He is obsessed with his BOHAG. He's so obsessed with
Michael
his BOHAG.
Unbroken.
Yes. He is so obsessed with his BOHAG. He is always thinking about it. So when he meets people, he is able to immediately see how can this person connect me to like get me closer to my BOHAG, or, and this is like next level BOHAG obsession, how can this person help someone else that I need to help me with my BOHAG. And then it's like reciprocity. I watch him do this. I'm part of the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I see it. And yes, I will help you because you helping me helps me with my BOHAG. So here we go. So get obsessed with your BOHAG. He also went into passion versus obsession. So go back and listen to that. What is really cool, he also talked about standing out from your competition. Remember with the red marker? So you guys, at the actual show, when he would go to try out for I almost said Jeopardy, for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they hand you a black marker. And he brought a red marker so that his card would stand out. This kind of like, for those who are like, I don't really care. I don't get how this helps me. Okay, my lovely ladies, I know we're all about the same age. You watched Legally Blonde, right? Brad,
I have watched Legally Blonde.
Remember her resume? Smells nice, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Smells nice. Y'all have to find a way to stand out. She is one of how many people going to Harvard, like that she's fighting for like one of these spots. So her resume had perfume, right? So you have to think about how can I stand out amongst the crowd of people. When I was doing commercials, and when they call you in for a commercial, they're like every redhead. Okay, so like, I'm a redhead. How do I stand out? Well, I had the red lipstick. I also made sure I found a way to laugh out loud, even if the commercial was about something so depressing. I wanted to find, because my laugh is something that people remember. You have to find a way to stand out, especially for things that are very subjective. You're getting chosen as one of these people. It's pretty subjective, right? So anyways, when it comes to your BOHAG, how can you stand out a little bit more? So don't be a tulip. Rise above, sunflower style.
Don't be a tulip, y'all.
You know how the tulips are all the same height.
I did not know that.
You've never heard of like the tulip problem, like the tulips, and like there's like it's a whole thing. So someone has to look it up, but it's like an actual saying that like people are raised to be a tulip. Like no one wants to stand up higher. So all the tulips are like, you'll rarely see a tulip like up higher. You know what I mean? Someone is nodding along with us.
I love it. This is a new analogy for Brad, but that's a great, I love that idea. You definitely have to stand out. And I think, like when Lesley and I coach, Pilates instructors, a lot of people come in to the program and they're like, well, how is this person that I'm in this group with not my competition? Because I teach Pilates and so do they. So wouldn't it just be like I'm actually empowering my competition? And our response is always, no, you aren't just teaching Pilates. You have a very specific niche. You niche down. You have to get into this space where you know exactly what you're doing for this one specific thing. The more you niche down, the more diehard your clients are going to be, the more you're going to be able to help people fill out their schedule. So basically, like if you were doing, let's say, you came from a back injury, right? And you were helping people get over a back injury themselves. It just so happens to be that you're using Pilates to do it. You see how you're not selling Pilates anymore? You're actually helping people with back injury stuff. Or maybe whatever it is that your specific thing, your niche may be, that is going to help you stand out from the crowd because it's going to be Pilates for back injuries.
I'm becoming more and more convinced with all these bots that are coming out that the more specific you are going to get on your website, the more likely that these bots are going to say, this is the Pilates teacher for you. Because now people are being told that they can say, oh, I want a low impact workout with a female instructor who specializes in taller bodies. You better have that word on your site. Otherwise, they're not going to pull you up because gone are the days of the old search engines pretty soon. So anyway, I don't know. This is a theory I have.
That's very interesting. I know with the new chatbot searches, things are going to shift here, y'all.
Don't worry. We'll keep our agency members up on that.
Agency members will know.
They'll be first. Before you go into what you loved, it is the MOA. That's the one that extinct.
Yes, I magically got a text message from
me.
Hers truly.
Look at it, babe. It looks like It looks like an ostrich / a brontosaurus.
MOAS. MOAS.
And I might be saying that wrong.
Oh, MOA. Sorry, MOAS is plural.
Yeah.
MOA is the singular. MOA.
Yeah. If you're in New Zealand and I said that wrong, you can let me know. I'll work on my accent. Okay, what did you love?
It's worth looking up.
It's such a cool bird.
It's pretty neat.
I'm so bummed it's gone.
It's like a tall. It's like a different type of ostrich, but it's not an ostrich at all.
No, I think it was a mammal.
I
don't know. There's more.
Interesting.
There's a lot.
All right, here's what I loved, y'all. We're going to get to it. I also had two things. So first is he talked about having an accountability partner, okay? So he said for him it was his wife. And the reason that he had an accountability partner was so that he could get this scary goal, this like potentially like impossible goal of getting on a television show out of his own head and out of, and in front of somebody else, because that helped with accountability. So having the right partner is really important because his wife was very encouraging. In fact, he literally said, the last city that I drove to so that I could be in an audition for this show, which obsessed y'all, he almost didn't go. It was to Cleveland, and his wife said, hey, you've been focused on this for so long, you might as well go. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I almost didn't go. So he went, and then he was able to get on the show, right? So you want to pick somebody who's really going to have your back, who's going to be understanding. And that could be your friend, your parent, your spouse, your, teacher, whatever it might be. One of your classmates, So having an accountability partner is super beneficial. And the second thing that I really loved what he said is, you need to see yourself to success, which is super be it till you see it, right? He practiced him like in his own home. He practiced seeing himself, envisioning himself in that seat on the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire platform. He practiced himself sitting there when the lights whip around and then the audience goes dark and it's just him and the host,
and
right?
They put like very stressful music. Dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, and it's so funny because it kind of sounds hippy dippy, but I grew up in sports and my coaches always used to say, see yourself putting that ball in the net, see yourself winning the game, see yourself, like completing the pass or getting the dig if you're playing volleyball.
In softball, I'm sure it's the same in baseball, that you watch the ball hit the bat. You didn't look where you're running next. You were swinging and you're like, I'm going to see that ball and that bat hit even before they hit. And you're going to watch that. You have to see that. Otherwise you're going to swing, the ball is going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. And because he was practicing that at home, when he was in the green room and the stress was on, he was like, okay, deep breath. He closed his eyes and he's like, just remember, it's just me and the host. There's nobody else there. And what I'm doing is I'm seeing myself in the seat, answering the question correctly. I'm seeing myself in the seat, answering the question correctly. And that helped him through very stressful, experience of being in the green room for 2 days before it was his turn to finally be on the show. And then being on the show and he didn't freeze up. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I mean, what you guys, I'm sure... If you are like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Why is she interviewing this person? But like, can you see all the different ways he was being until he said, like, I had to have him on to show like this is how you do it. Like, this is the roadmap. This is it. Anyways, I'm obsessed. We have to get to the beat action item because this one I'm probably the best.
All right. So finally, let's talk about those be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Phil
I know
Barth?
You're going to jump in first, but I can't believe you stole this one from me. You always give me the morning ones because you're not a morning person, but like this is a joint favorite.
This is hilarious. I love this. Phil specifically said, hey, y'all have a bucket list. Love that you have a bucket list, but you also need a fuck it list.
Yes.
Yeah, a fuck it list. That's right. And if you're not okay with that, just call it a chuck it list. Mm-hmm. Okay? The whole idea here of the fuck it list is basically look at you. Okay? And this is what I thought was really interesting.
Hold on, you gotta finish this sentence because the whole idea of the fuck it, look at you, fuck it. Like
No. You need to be looking at yourself internally. This is what is very challenging for, everybody. Nobody likes to analyze themselves, okay? But the things that go on your fuck it list are things that are no longer serving you, things that you no longer want to be, things that you no longer want to do, you no longer want to have, right? And that can be tough to decide, you know? Maybe it's like, so let's pick something that's obvious and easy. Maybe road rage. You get really angry when people cut you off and you're like screaming and yelling and cursing. And what happens to that? It like actually builds this tension in you, and it can affect the rest of your day, right?
It's going to be harder to go back into like dreaming up and being creative. That's for sure.
Totally. And so maybe you want to get rid of that. That thing could go on your fuck it list, right? And that's like, you know, it might take practice and time to like allow that stuff to roll off of you. But when you identify it and you put it on the fuck it list, now you're aware of it, right? And it will allow you to let go of that thing, whatever that thing might be. He actually said he had a volcano drawn on his whiteboard in his office, and everything that he didn't want anymore, he wrote it into the inside of the volcano. It became in the chuck it list.
So cool.
And he chucked those things into the volcano.
This could be like, and it's like people that no longer serve you, things that no longer serve you. Maybe like Netflix binging is no longer serving you. Like, you know, and maybe you have to get rid of streaming subscriptions just so you really don't go back to them. But what are
he specifically said, here's why. Obviously, it's going to benefit you from that perspective, but really, it's because the things that end up in your chuck it list, they're actually taking up space. They're taking up so much space that they might be getting in the way of your BOHAG or your next BOHAG, right? So when you are able to clean house, as it were, it's going to really tee you up to knock the next one out of the park.
Yep.
How about that?
I love it. And then as if that wasn't enough, he could have just stopped right there.
He could have totally stopped there.
He's like, you have to start your day right. And this is, you know how I am. So he actually quoted a Harvard University study that said those who started their day with negative news versus those who started their day with a solution-based news. So if you had 3 minutes of negative news, it led you to have a 27% greater chance of having a bad day. Just 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's like a quarter, like times a quarter more. You're basically setting yourself up to have a bad day.
Yeah.
If you're taking on negative news right in the morning.
Right in the morning.
Yeah.
So I love that this one is coming after Di's thing. So like y'all, you can actually take this be it action item with last week's be it action item and like really truly make sure that you are doing your 15 minutes of movement, your 5-minute meditation, and then your 10 minutes of self-development.
Working on you.
Working on you before you get all involved up in that news shit. Because you have to start your day out right so you can go after your BOHAG.
I can personally attest to this, that before the last election cycle, November last year, so it was like probably September, October, November, I was so personally invested in, you know, what was happening like with the news that it was very seriously affecting my mental state.
Oh, the work was not getting done on time.
Yeah.
Whenever there's an election, I think we should have a team rule where all political podcasts and news podcasts are paused for 3 months. Like, we just might need to do that but we have to put in the fuck it list just for 90 days. Just because it gets a little distracting.
Yeah, or maybe it's something that happens during lunch instead of first thing in the morning. Because I was waking up in the morning, plugging right into the news, and that was what I was focused on.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, anyways, let's check in with Brad if he decides to do this. We have a year off before election, so you got a year to get on that fuck it list. But put it on next fall's fuck it list page.
I love it.
You guys, Phil is so fabulous. I really wish that we were like all related. I bet you the family reunions are so great with him. Anyways, he has a book out already called Great Things Happen Every Day. And he has another book that he's working on called Fry Your Chickens. So go check him out.
Yeah.
And if you're like, oh yeah, I remember this stuff. Like, well, if you aren't going after your BOHAG, then you need better reminders. So you just do. We all need it. We all have those days. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for being here. We truly are so grateful for you. And also to those of you who take time to hit the stars and leave a review over on Spotify and Apple. It is the reason why this podcast gets out. Here's the deal. Podcasts take a freaking long time to grow. This is a BOHAG I'm obsessed with.
It's true.
But I need your help. I need reviews and I need you to share it. And if you don't know how to share it on social media, I don't care. You can share it with a friend at lunch. You can
Text
just go,
it to them.
Here it is. Text it to them, all the things. And we can't wait to hear how you use these tips in your life. What BOHAG are you obsessed with? Let us know. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Frattarelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.